welcome back to the College Cinephile. Me and Eric last week went to the South by Southwest Film Festival 2019, and man, we had a really good time.
It was excellent. Man, it was so fantastic. Got to see a lot of wonderful movies and got to meet a lot of really cool people. It was excellent.
Yeah, and it was definitely one of the longest weeks of my life.
Absolutely.
Extremely tired.
He saw a lot more movies than I did, definitely.
Yeah, I actually saw a total of 19, which is pretty impressive for mine.
Extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Watching how he was just going and going, it was incredible. I definitely did not do that, but it was a lot of line standing, a lot of meeting people, networking, and enjoying the wonderful city that is Austin, Texas.
Yeah. So on that note, we did see a lot of movies, and so here are the top 5 movies that we like the most. Well, my top 5 and his top 5. My top 5 is Booksmart, The Boy Band Con, The Lou Pearlman Story, with Running with Beto. I actually put those both at number 4 because I'll explain that later. Us, Long Shot, and Daniel Isn't Real.
And my top 5 are Little Monsters, Extraordinary, Snatchers, Boy Band Con, and Long Shot. So as of right now, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about Isaiah's top 5, and we'll get into some of the movies we saw together eventually.
Right. So my number 5 is Booksmart. This is the directorial debut of actress Olivia Wilde and stars Caitlin Dever, Beanie Fieldstein, Billy Lord, Molly Gordon, and Jason Sudeikis. This film centers on 2 high school best friends, Amy and Molly, who on the day before their high school graduation realized that they wasted their high school years working hard towards college when they could have lived life more and still ended up with the same grades. So now they embark on a quest to go to the big popular kids party and cram 4 years of fun into one night. And man, this movie was a blast. Olivia Wilde steps onto the scene as a director and completely sets up her visual style. She basically directed this movie as a seasoned director. It was a really good time. I know there's a lot of coming of age stories out there, but they do add a lot of different layers to this one that actually makes it stand out from the rest. Definitely the relationship between Amy and Molly is what stands out the most. Like, you know, they're not your typical coming of age story people, because, you know, they're like the big hotshot like student nerds. You know, they've been studying this whole time and now they're actually letting loose and having fun, and you know, there's a bunch of hijinks along the way, but to me the best part is the last act, when they actually make it to the party. A lot of mishaps happen, not just comedically, but also emotionally. And there's a great scene when they're arguing with one another and like the sound kind of like tunes out, and you just see them raw emotion arguing at one another, like no vocals or anything. And I just thought it was a fantastic scene. Really good movie. I would give it a 4 out of 5. The only problem I would say that holds it back from a 5 out of 5 is just that the mishaps leading up to the final party, while they're fun, it kind of feels kind of like, all right, we're jumping from this party to the next party to try to get to the big party. And I would have liked it if they just got to the big party sooner, because that's where the good emotional stuff happens. But yeah, overall 4 out of 5 for Booksmart.
And I'm going to interject real quick just because I can. I am so bummed I had to miss this movie. I was sitting in line and it sucked. I really, 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 really wanted to see this movie because Olivia Wilde is amazing. So when the rest of the world, like you and I, get to see it, I cannot wait. And we will find out that you were probably right. So my number 5 is Little Monsters. Dave, a washed-up musician, volunteers to chaperone his nephew's kindergarten field trip after taking a shine to this plucky schoolteacher, Miss Caroline. Dave's intentions are complicated by the presence of a world-famous child entertainer and his competitor for Miss Caroline's affections. This film was really, really good. It started out and it was such an entertaining film. I had no idea I was watching a zombie film. I was like, this can't be a zombie movie, because it was very lighthearted. It was funny. I thought I was watching some kind of fun romantic comedy, or maybe just a regular comedy in general. But then it just gets better and better, and eventually the zombies come in, but they're kind of just a part of the tapestry of the film. Right until it becomes a zombie movie, guys. It is hilarious and so well put together. It was funny, and let me tell you, if you are not a fan of Lupita Nyong'o, you are going to be after this film. I thought it was fantastic. The way that they filmed her, and she was honestly playing a character that is traditionally not who she would be. Honestly, you would usually see someone like Jennifer Garner or maybe Reese Witherspoon in a role like this, but it was Lupita Nyong'o, and that made it even better. She was fantastic, she was smart, she was entertaining, and man, she kicked some butt. Wow.
All right, so now on to my number 4. For my number 4, I had 2 documentaries that I just couldn't decide between the two because I loved them both equally. They're both great documentaries. The first one is The Boy Band Con, the Lou Pearlman story. This is a documentary about the infamous producer Lou Pearlman, who discovered Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and also set up one of the largest Ponzi schemes in U.S. history. This film goes over his rise and fall and the many lives he affected, from the other bands that he managed to the people caught within his schemes. This film is directed by Aaron Kunkel. I'll go more over in depth on how I felt about the movie when I talk about it with Eric, because it's on his list as well, just further down. But the other documentary that I want to talk about is Running with Beto. This is a behind-the-scenes documentary following Beto O'Rourke during his Texas campaign to unseat Ted Cruz from the U.S. Senate. It is a film that is directed by David Mondigalani. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, David, if by any chance you're watching this film, but I can just say you made a fantastic documentary. In the Q&A after the film that I saw, after I saw this film, he said that there was over 700 hours of footage, but it did not slow down for a bit. He well-paced it very good. He presented all the information that needed to be known, and then some. It is a very good behind-the-scenes look on how much Beto O'Rourke really struggled to do this campaign. Like, I know in the general knowledge, we all know that this was very grassroots, not funded by big corporations, and he went to every single county he could possibly go to in Texas. But you really see how much of a strain it put on his life and what he needed to do to hopefully win. And even though he didn't win the Senate seat, he's still praised, and this documentary shows why he's praised. He's such a good leader. And definitely the last part in the documentary, they capture never before seen footage of his reactions to when he lost and when he's home with his family. And I just thought all of it was fantastic. Very good documentary, 5 out of 5. Eric.
All right, the next film is Extraordinary. Now, this film is about Rose, a sweet, lonely driving instructor in Rural Island, and she's gifted with a supernatural ability. Rose has a love-hate relationship with her talents and tries to ignore the constant spirit-related requests from the locals, to exorcise possessed rubbish bins to haunted gravel. But Christian Winter, a washed-up one-hit wonder rock star, has made a pact with the devil for a return to greatness. He puts a spell on a local teenager, making her levitate. Her terrified father, Martin, asks Rose to help save his daughter. Rose has to overcome the fear for her supernatural gift and work with Martin to save the girl, get the guy, and be home in time for a light snack. Maybe a yogurt or something. I will tell you, this film, if you are a Will Arnett fan, this film is for you. It's very much his pacing, it's his comedy, it's very interesting, and yet it's set behind this supernatural world where you find crazy things happening. Like, imagine The Exorcist meets a crazy Will Arnett SNL sketch.